The recruiting weekend that was on April the 13th for the first spring game, or the second spring scrimmage, the first public one that was at Traz Powell. It's always just good to get guys around, man. Justin Flo, 5-star linebacker, the number 1 linebacker in America, flew in from California, and he was on hand for an unofficial visit, and he's talking about he's going to come back for an official visit. Of guys, recruits who were there. Isaiah Walker Jr., who's a 4-star offensive tackle recruit from Miami Norland. He was there. Some 2021 guys and everything. So, it was more just a laying foundation and kind of behind the scenes because, until a kid really comes out and says, hey, this is my leader, or hey, these are my top schools, or yes, I'm committed here, releases an edit or anything, it's kind of, you're reading some tea leaves and you're trying to talk to, either the kid themselves or, various sources or, there's a variety of recruiting sites out there and things like that and kind of piecing together the information. So, just the biggest thing is really, everybody was talking about it was a family atmosphere. All the kids who were there were talking about the fact that they got to interact with the coaches and they got to see how they coach their positions and saw how they could potentially fit into the field or what they could bring if they were out there, how they could impact the game. So that was really the biggest thing. Jalen Knighton from Deerfield Beach High School is a 4-star running back, was previously committed to Oklahoma, excuse me. He's committed to Oklahoma, but he was there at the scrimmage, and he was talking about the fact of he was looking around and could see himself in orange and green and things like that. So, yeah, just a lot of that kind of foundation work being laid. And on the other podcast that I was on, and you can see the link is up on stateoftheu.com, so I don't need to go further than that. But the question was asked again to a different panelist about how many visits does a player like a Justin Flo, a 5-star from out of state, Darnell Washington, he's a 6'8" tight end from Las Vegas, Desert Pines High School, Antoine Sampa from Woodbridge, Virginia. It's like kids, elite kids at their positions. How many visits need to have happened before them coming to Miami is a realistic possibility? And another panelist, the same other panelist that I've referenced before, he said that two visits need to happen. And I wanted just to piggyback on that. It needs to be 2 visits, and it needs to be an unofficial and an official visit. So one paid by the player, one paid by the school. Because when you pay for yourself to, a transcontinental flight, that's going to cost. Like, even if you have family members in aviation or rewards points or miles or whatever, like, it's still going to cost you some money to get out there. So when you pay your own way, that shows that you're really interested because, hey, Ma, Dad, no, I really want to go over here and see this place. And then coming back for the official visit, that progresses the connection. So if you think about Devontae Smith, wide receiver who's at Alabama from Amite, Louisiana, when he was a 5-star, he came down for Paradise Camp a few years ago, and he said all the right things. And he did all the right things. And he said, yeah, I'm going to come back for an official visit. Like, I'm really into Miami. Like, they're in my top 3 or 4, the whole entire cycle. It got to be the last weekend in January. His high school basketball playoffs were going on. Devontae Smith, because he could hoop too. So he's out there. And so somebody was out there and asked him, okay, cool. So, like, you coming to Miami this weekend? He goes, we'll see. Wait, what? He's like, yeah, that's your official visit. It's already scheduled. He's like, yeah, we'll see. And then, like, on Friday morning, he was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to my Miami visit. Okay, well, then there's no chance. You know what I mean? So it needs to be 2 visits for elite players from out of state, and unofficial where they pay their way, and then an official where we bring them in and really roll out the red carpet, because you can have kind of different contact levels a little bit on an official visit versus unofficial. So, but yeah, when you're laying the foundation for some of those guys, Justin Flo, he was there. Darnell Washington was not there for that game itself, but he took an unofficial, in close proximity to that. Your Jake Garcia from 2021 class, 5-star potential quarterback. He's taken an unofficial where he's paid his way across the country. Hopefully you get some other guys like a Khalil Ringo, who's a 5-star cornerback from Arizona. I want to say he's like 6'2", 210 and runs like a 4.5, like ridiculous. But when those guys pay their own way, that starts to lay the foundation, and you get them back for their official visit. That's really what will progress the thing. So, I think that the visits that happened on the 13th, for those kids who were out of town or out of state coming in, it was the first step of that kind of a process. But yeah, you're really going to see Miami be a little bit more selective. hopefully, in this class. So yeah, sometimes you do have to play the long game a little bit. And especially with an entirely new staff on offense and a new head coach, you're going to have some of the recruiting stagnate a little bit because you are proving yourself to the student or to the players, just like they're proving themselves to you. So I think that is the biggest takeaway from the visits on the 13th. So we just got to press forward, and go from here.